got?
Let's start with the question that's been on an endless loop. Do you have a starting quarterback?
Yeah, we do, but we're not. We're still going through the week of training. So as I told you on Monday, we've got a couple more days left here. We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're still in that process.
Okay, so we will not find out till game time, or how will that
I
work?
guess so. We'll figure that out when we name them. We'll name them. So.
Okay. Now, how will the mechanics of that kind of work, though?
The mechanics, I'll say, hey, you're going to play tomorrow.
Okay.
And then he'll say, yay.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
So that's how that's working.
But you've already informed.
We haven't informed anybody because we
okay.
haven't made the decision. When we make a decision, we'll let everybody know.
Okay.
So
How's,
we haven't talked about it to the players yet,
Got
so
it.
they're
All
still
right.
just taking reps. So
it looked like
we're not trying to hide anything. That's the point I keep trying to make on this. So.
it looks like Laney Joey Aloha got a little nicked up yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see how he is
physically.
We'll see how he is. You know, obviously he took a shot yesterday in practice, and we'll evaluate. We still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so we don't really start talking about who's in, who's out until after we're done our training session. So.
How is it at that inside
Keep him
linebacker?
in the picture. Look, he dressed up nice.
He gets in enough.
Nice thing. He
He's
doesn't
been
have the nice
dressing
shorts
better.
that I like, but we're good. What's
The
that?
inside linebacker position seems like it's kind of.
We're thin when Josh went down, obviously.
Yeah.
So you know, we'll see. Again, we've got to talk about it today. Doesn't mean anything. If someone were to roll their ankle at the last period today, then now we're re-talking about it again. So we've always let's get through a week of training, and then we'll sit down and as a staff, who's playing what, where are we, what are our depth, and we make sure we're all set at that. So it's always been that way for us. So
Is there some thought of Mike Juarez maybe moving inside?
we haven't done that this week. So.
Okay.
It's been 6 years since you've coached in a college game. What are you most looking forward to Saturday?
Just make sure I'm there for kickoff. So, but I don't look at it as 6 years from this or that. Football's football. So
That's what I was going to ask. If the environment doesn't change,
it shouldn't. I think if you get intimidated or caught up in or dealing with the environment, then you're not doing your job. Your job is to focus on what's going on in front of you, not what's going on behind you. So.
in the time that you took off, is there everybody really talks about your teaching and how well you teach? Is that part of what you missed?
Yeah, I think you miss the day-to-day. You know, you're not with a group of coaches on a daily basis. That was the biggest thing. I mean, I really enjoyed my time. The people I worked with were unbelievable. We didn't work until Saturday, so you know, you'd have a phone call during the week on what our process was about and what it was, but then everybody kind of worked on independent projects from wherever they were coming from. So, and then we got together on game day. So as a football staff, we're together 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. So you miss that interaction on a daily basis is what I probably miss the most.
Coach, forgive me, I know you've been
That's okay.
inundated with this quarterback thing. Everything I've read is you've really talked about it being organic and letting it unfold. Does that mean in any way that organic means in the game you would still let it unfold, or is there a deadline?
Yeah, that could happen.
Okay.
There's no deadlines. That could happen. I mean, we haven't had any final discussions, but if 2 guys or 3 guys warrant playing time, then they'll get playing time.
What more do you need to see from those guys? What's
Everything.
left in the process?
Everything. We haven't been. There is no left in the process. This is an evolution that goes on a daily basis. So I don't. You know, again, I understand it why everybody's concerned with the quarterback, but I haven't had one question on who our nickel is. You know, and that's an ongoing battle too. That we need to make sure that we better have a good nickel. So I mean, it's part of the whole deal. I understand what a quarterback is and and how he fits in and what people want to talk about. But for a coach, every single important position battle is huge, and that's part of the process. So.
Who looks like they're leading for that starting nickel spot?
That's a great question, and we're going to have to go the next couple of days here to kind of nail down exactly who that is. So, do we move a starting corner inside when we get into nickel situations, or do we leave the corners outside and play one of the nickels? Like Colin Samuel came back and joined us this week for practice. He was out for most of camp, so you know we're trying to see how he can fit in and what he's able to do for us. So we've got a little bit more depth in the secondary right now with the addition of Colin coming back. So that's another question that we'll have to sit down as a staff after these next couple of training days and kind of hammer out.
Is playing more nickel an option with the depth at inside linebacker a little bit thin right now?
No, you don't think of it that way. You think of it as what is the defense doing? You know, you can say, yeah, we're going to play more nickel, and then they line up in 3 tight ends and run the ball down your throat. And you're saying, well, we did a good job of playing nickel. Well, we shouldn't have been in nickel because they didn't dictate it. So most of the time, what you're in defensively is really determined by down and distance, and then what the offense is deploying from a personnel standpoint.
You have 3 true freshmen in the 2 deep at defensive line. Talk a little bit about like Abunga and
Yeah, well, we've
Manoa,
got
what
some,
they've done.
a couple guys that aren't going to play in the opener, so
Yeah.
there's a reason for that. But those guys have trained really hard during camp. Manoa and Mafi have really done a nice job since the beginning, and then Otito was out a little bit, but he's shown enough for us. And again, we've got 2 kids down in the D line that kind of has vaulted some of those guys forward. So that's a lot of it has to do with there's 2 kids that are on the D line that aren't going to be available to us in game 1. So
You got among the most underclassmen in the country and a ton of true freshmen. What's it like balancing kind of on players' upside versus the learning curve with that many freshmen?
You don't. That's just the way it is. I mean, we have 7. When Josh went down, we have 7 seniors. So, with 2 grad transfers, so 9. So you were going to have a ton of underclassmen, no matter how you looked at it. So it doesn't matter. You can have a master plan of we'd like to do this with our upperclassmen and this with our freshmen. But when you're in this situation where you don't have many seniors, your underclassmen are going to be forced to play. So that's just is what it is.
To this point, how have guys kind of adapted to tempo?
They good, I guess. I don't get the first
Well, I
one.
mean, a couple weeks ago, guys were talking about how tough it was to get used to.
Yeah,
it.
but that's
Now,
not tempo. That's just how we train. So that doesn't have anything to do with that. We're going to train fast because the game happens fast. But that's got nothing to do with. The question should be how do they adapt to game speed, because that's
There
what
you
we're
go.
doing. So
How are they?
they're getting there.
Are you satisfied with where they are at this
I'll
point?
find out Saturday. I'm not satisfied for what Wednesday doesn't really mean anything from a satisfaction standpoint. It's how do they perform on Saturday with it. So.
Are you big into visualization? Visualization.
Oh, I thought you said individualization. I don't know what that meant. We're in a team game, so there's obviously you have to see things and we have to show them things. I think that's part of one of the ways people learn. They see things and they remember. So from that standpoint, yeah, we are.
What about for you?
What?
Visualization, just like how things will be when you show up at the first game.
No, because if I knew that, then I'd go to Saratoga and win every race. You know what I mean? You have no idea. I mean, the one thing I know as a coach is that you don't know what you don't know. I mean, the best example, we played Auburn in the national championship when I was at Oregon, and it was Gus Malzahn, who's done an unbelievable job as the offensive coordinator, and we had scored a ton of points, and they scored a ton of points, and everybody said the game was going to be 77-76, and it was 22-19. It was a defensive battle, so no one, including the coaches, were right on that one. So to think of how a game is going to unfold, I think that's just a waste of your energy. You're looking at specific situations. What do they do? What are the percentages that they do? But if it's not 100%, then they've already shown that they can go either way. A lot of times, most teams that are good on defense are 50-50. So to visualize 50-50 is you're just spending your time going, half the time they're going to do this, half the time they're going to do that. I mean, I don't know what visualizing that helps you or it doesn't help you. So.
I think I meant more for just you personally and going to your first UCLA game.
But I just think of it. I've been to the Rose Bowl before, and it doesn't change. And you're concentrating on what's going on the field, not what's going on behind you. So you go back to Hoosiers where the court's the same and the basket's the same, and so you really don't care what environment you're playing in. You're just concerned about what goes on within the game and the decisions that you have to make that go on within the game. So.
Coach, I'm sorry.
Last question.
Sure.
Just for the cameras, can you just repeat what you were saying about the first question you had from the gentleman in the shirt about the starting quarterback? Your decision on
Yeah,
that?
we got a couple more days of training here, so.
Until
And
you-
high.
Until you decide.
Until what?
Until you decide.
Well, yeah, someone's going to have to take a snap on the first snap. So, but we got 3 more days of training that we have 3 kids that are being really competitive with it, and it's not fair to any of them to say we're going to name a guy today for the sake of naming a guy today. So, and you could see more than one guy play if that's what the rest of the week dictates to us. So, we'll be excited to go out there and play Cincinnati, 4 o'clock. You guys on ABC or ESPN? Are you guys?
We're in ABC.
Okay, and you're not?
NBC.
Okay, so we won't talk about what it's on then.
Yeah, we're good.
We good from that standpoint?
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.